All right, Coach, well, not the result you wanted, not the best game for your shooting performance of the season, but just talk me through your thoughts on that game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, really disappointed with how it ended. I think every year until this year, we've just gotten better all season. And this year, at the end of the year, we were playing probably our worst basketball. And I think that part's really hard to stomach as a coach because our job is to keep improving guys. I think some of our players, obviously wish they would be playing their best at the end of the year. But then, you start looking at the reasons why, and it's hard to. I don't think anyone has anything to hang their heads about because the reasons we weren't playing our best are pretty obvious. We had major injuries to our best players. Those guys' bodies wore down. Hopefully we can, in the future, have get a little more depth and put the right guys around guys like Max and Dylan where they can be hurt and we can still win. But at the end of the day, when your best players are not 100%, you're probably not going to have as much success as you want. And I more than anything just feel bad for those guys as individuals because everyone sees the on-court result, which obviously wasn't what we wanted. But the last 6 weeks of the season, what really all of our guys were doing, all of those core guys in particular, to try to get their bodies ready to play was as impressive as anything I've seen. And they deserve to have that pay off with great performance and wins. And they didn't get that. But what they did get was the conference championship, because if those guys don't battle through those things, we don't beat Saginaw, we don't beat Davenport, and we don't get the conference championship. So they still got a reward. It just wasn't the reward that any of us wanted them to have for what they pushed through.
So still a super young team. What do you hope the experience of being in the tournament in back-to-back years means moving forward? And also looking at it tonight, you got two teams you've beat. One of them is going to be in the Elite Eight. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the GLIAC, it proves how good the league is. I think every year, and I don't really understand why, in the non-conference, the GLIAC is good but doesn't dominate the other leagues. But it seems like by the time you get to the tournament, our league is playing better than other leagues, and at least in my limited experience. Lake State and Ferris are phenomenal. I think the difference between us, Lake State, and Ferris, and I think both of those coaches would agree with this, and I think all of the players on all three teams would agree with this, is let's assume everyone's like kind of normal health, and I think you take a coin and you flip it. Now, the beauty of basketball is it's not a coin flip. It's who prepared the best. It's who has the best game plan. It's what guys step up in the biggest moments. But the difference between the teams all season has been razor thin. And razor thin enough that Max makes a couple shots against those two teams so we get to win the regular season, and razor thin enough that Ben Davidson makes a couple shots in the tournament and they win the regular season tournament, and then the NCAA tournament, they're in the Sweet 16 and we went home. That's the margins. The margins are Max Weisbrod and Ben Davidson and Ethan Erickson and Dylan Keel, and that's what makes basketball beautiful. But it's also like good to know that we're losing to the team that, and the teams we're losing and beating the teams that are good enough to go to the Elite Eight, and it shows that we're not that far off. And I felt the same thing last year, and I feel it this year. We are not any worse than the best teams in the region. We have not been better, but we haven't been any worse, and we have to find a way to play our absolute best basketball for 3 games in that setting if we ever get another opportunity to go there, which is something I'm not taking for granted because that's very difficult.